hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way. Cause I took.
What's up, Ock?
Just go fucking way, Stan.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Y'all Heard What I Said, Sports and Entertainment Podcast. Gotta tell Darrin they don't want none. Diesel D. We here in the playoffs, conference semifinals. So on the east side, you got number 1 seed Miami Heat, who dominated against the Atlanta Hawks, taking on the Philadelphia 76ers in the semifinals. And Miami, they've been looking dominant right now, as they should, as the number 1 seed with their great defense. Jimmy being the lead. And Tyler Hero, congrats, he just won 6th Man of the Year.
That should have been unanimous.
Yeah, actually should.
6666666666666.
Before we get into T, man, in today's NBA, honestly, you can be a star off the bench, you can be a star in whatever role, if you see the big picture, if the team win. To have a young player trust in what I say and trust in what we say, that's big, because they all have their own vision. Also, being a father, managing being a father, being an NBA player, 6th Man of the Year, and giving us what we asked from you, that's a lot, that's big. Took a lot of steps this year, man. It's bigger than 6th Man of the Year for you, bro. Took a lot of steps just being a man, being a professional, so I'm proud of you.
Who are the influences? Who are the guys that right now, when you hold this trophy, you would like to look at and say, man, thank you? Who are they?
I mean, you got to salute Lou Will. For me, growing up, watching just, Lou being 6th Man, I feel like that when I think of the 6th Man award, it's Lou Will or Jamal Crawford. So, growing up, those are 2 guys that I grew up watching as a 6th Man. So, they paved the way for all of us. And, I just continue to keep it going and, still be someone after me to win this award next year.
If it wasn't.
Yeah, all the top 4 seeds, all the players, like they supposed to do is win. So the first question I want to say now is, who wins this series?
The Heat, because Embiid missing games. I think he broke my face.
I mean, I honestly don't know which way I wanted to go with this series. The way Embiid been playing, MVP counter, it can go to 6, it could go to 7, but for Embiid to get that injury at the end of a game where y'all already had the series won, now you done missed 2 games. Y'all down 0-2. He gotta play game 3. He has to.
Mm-hmm. He do.
And they have to win. If they don't win, Heat sweep. Yeah. If he do play, they win, they still losing 5 because they never have no momentum now. They didn't let Ty Hero get his stretch in. Jimmy ain't even getting his stride yet. Bam ain't getting his stride, but Hero out here chilling. Kyle Lowry ain't playing.
Yeah, I got the Heat. I got the Heat in 5. If Embiid don't come back.
Before the series started, before I knew if Embiid was going to be out, I said Heat in 6. And Embiid missed both games so far, and I knew that Heat was going to win both of those games. Mm-hmm. Even with Embiid coming back, I still say Heat in 5. Like, we don't know if Embiid's going to play game 3 or 4. Yeah. And just the Heat, they showing how good they are. Just all their players playing. I mean, even with Kyle Lowry not even playing right now. Oladipo, finally, he getting some time. He's stepping in and playing big minutes for them. And another, y'all just mentioned it. So, with Embiid coming back for either game 3 or 4 at home,
that's it.
How much of an impact will he have on Philly and their chances?
I mean, it should be a big impact because they definitely need him.
I mean, Miami, let's not get it twisted. Ever since they made the finals, bubble, these motherfuckers ain't got their defense. They might not have been number 1, number 2 like Dallas and Boston, but they core is defense. Mm-hmm. So I feel like even if Embiid give me MVP numbers, I don't think it's going to be MVP against Toronto numbers. He probably give me his 30 and 10, but is he going to give me 38 and 15 like Joker? Because even so, Chuck has talked about it. Shaq has talked about it. That we have to come to the realization there's no more prime of James Harden. It's gone.
I don't know
if
what
it
it
didn't
is.
come in these 2 games without Embiid, where you've had the ball in your hand almost every possession unless you pass it to Maxey, and you still barely only with 22 points tonight.
20.
16
They
last
scoring
game.
last 8 minutes. Yeah, 16.
Like,
I don't
I'm
know
like,
what
bro.
about it. He just looked way too passive.
Like, you had 2 games to just shut up the doubters and just give out a vintage Harden performance. Just one game they wanted you to show them. You still ain't showed them.
Yeah,
a series and a half. So
He's been the 4th best player on
I'm
the
sorry,
court.
I didn't lost my faith in Philly. Like,
Can I have my own camera?
Oh my God, you have a camera.
on you, man.
Okay, right here.
Look at it.
Let me
It's a red light.
Okay, right. I'm gonna look right here. Get it right here. Get the money maker.
Come on, man, you're burning time.
We got time. What?
These guys both have pictures. Okay,
What pitch? This is a beat down.
Come on, let's go.
James Harden.
Oh, this won't wait until the post.
Nope, it won't. 'Cause he might be in the bed, or he might be out clubbing with the baby and them other dudes. James Harden, you said you don't feel no pressure. Man, you better think again. Them people in Philadelphia ain't gonna be having you going out there playing bad. So you can say, I don't call it deflection or whatever. You got more pressure on you than any player in the playoffs. Wow. Good luck now. Because my Sixers, I love y'all Sixers are my sons, but James, don't try to, don't tell that lie.
All right, you good?
I'm good.
Charles used to be like dribble, 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 but they were fast dribble, dribble, dribbles. It wasn't, all the time in a slow motion half court. So he's not able to get downhill right now to create the pace. That's the difference to me.
Well, actually, I was disappointed because they had the game right there at halftime. They were up. And then he only scored 4 points in the second half. That's 100% aggression. I mean, he played a good first half, but for some reason he only scored 4 points in the second half. You got to get more than.
He took 4 shots.
You got to get more than 4 shots. Like with Joel not out there, he should be shooting 25 times, and to only get 4 points in the second. That game, like I didn't think they were going to win the game.
And there's no reason.
But like it was a 1 point game at halftime. He should have been super aggressive.
25. Yeah.
There's no reason he's coming off the pick, passing it to Nang. Nang should be coming off the pick.
I would take him off the ball, Ernie, and put Maxey on the ball at times so he could be a finisher instead of a facilitator.
Hero 25, bam.
I don't got them going past this round. And no matter how many more games Embiid plays.
Yeah, like even if Embiid, I think it's going to make a slight difference because of how much usage he has, and he's like virtually unstoppable at times. Like you said, Harden, like it's not the same James Harden. Even when like not even just Houston James Harden, even Brooklyn James Harden, like he's not being more assertive, trying to look for more of his shot. You can see at times that it's just not the old James Harden.
I mean, he just keep fooling us. Soon as he got to Brooklyn, he showed his old James Harden. Soon as he got to Philly, first week, two triple doubles in the first 4 or 5 games. Him and them making compliments. I didn't even see the pass coming. Now the last month, where's that James Harden been? He's disappeared. He's giving me 16, 9, and 5. Like
that ain't working against this Miami Heat team.
Nah, bro.
That's not working.
What was the point of the trade? I'm giving up Saf, Drummond, Ben, and you giving me that.
NBA
Maxey can give me that if I give him the ball.
NBA meme said both teams, the first trade in NBA history, and both teams lost the trade.
I agree with both of y'all, but they still, after the trade, they was in the middle of the pack, like tied with different teams from 2 to 6. They still ended up number 2.
Nah, but we talk about the playoffs at this time.
No, but I'm saying he said he didn't see it wasn't that James Harden, like he wasn't making a difference.
I'm talking about in this series.
They still ended up number 2 seed. At All-Star break, where they was like 4th. They still finished the season number 2 seed and got past the first round. And it's a different team. It's almost like Golden State.
But they not number 2. They number 4
seed. I'm gonna make that comparison.
They number 4 seed. Boston.
I'm gonna make that comparison.
So they fell.
I'm gonna make that comparison with oh yeah, you right. I'm gonna make that comparison with like the 2 out of 5 probably most improved players with Maxey and Jordan Poole. With Golden State, with Golden State, Steph is doing less and less than he was doing at the beginning of the season. Steph was an MVP candidate at the beginning of the season. Then he straight way fell out of that.
On 40
Look how much
pieces.
Poole improved. That's how much like Maxey improved before they got James Harden. Maxey was already doing the stuff he was doing on the team with Embiid and Tobias. So with James Harden still let
But
James.
let me counter that. Let me counter
James
that.
Harden still not
At the
trying to
same
score.
time, since you're talking about a team with that kind of, in my opinion, pieces that fit just like Philly. Let's say, like you said, when Steph started playing MVP at the beginning, that he fell back. But now let's look at the playoffs. I get Poole giving me 31 in game 1, but then Steph come back around and give me 30 the next game. Yeah. So Steph is still able to get his shit. And when he's not giving me 30, he still gives me 20 while Poole get his 30. My thing is Harden is not even giving me that. Like, and that's the thing. What does Shaq say? I know you've been down to facilitate getting your 8 to 10 assists, but now we need not 20-point James Harden. We need 27, 28-point James Harden. Maybe you got to lose a couple assists. You've not changed anything, and it hasn't resulted in the wins we need.
His assist wasn't even going up.
Like, my nigga, like, Embiid is out. What did Poole do when Steph was out? This nigga turned up. When is MVP going to turn up? We seen with Embiid, we seen without Embiid, and we haven't seen that hard in like a month.
True.
Yeah. I don't know, like, without him, like, basically have no chance. Without Embiid, if Harden gonna keep playing like that.
Like, and I feel like it shouldn't have been like that. I feel like they should have been at least like that's when I always like to agree with Kenny. No matter how much talent, skill you got, sometimes it comes down to the effort. And these niggas are not putting in the effort in a semifinal matchup against a number 1 seed with your center down. If anything, if my star player is down, I want to play harder to make sure he gets back on the floor before my time to play.
I'm not going
to put him in a position where he got to carry us on his back on an 0-2 deficit because we lost both games basically by double-figure blowouts. The first game, which you lost by 10, 12. This game, you lost by basically 20 again.
I'm not going to say that because they was in both games all the way up.
Both games doesn't matter.
To the fourth quarter. So it's not like they getting blown out. They staying in the games. They just end up losing. Like, he was number 1 seed.
They did get blown out both games.
He was number 1 seed for a reason. No, they didn't.
They did. They brought in the jobbers in game 1.
With like 2
minutes. They started getting messed up in the fourth quarter.
That's getting blown out.
It wasn't a blowout.
But if you end up getting blown out, you got blown out.
No, you didn't. If you watch the game where they was down by like 3 and 5.
And this when it comes to what Kenny and Jack say.
Just like with the Mavericks and the Suns.
That means they got blown out.
No blowout. They was down by fucking 3 in the fourth quarter.
That's a blowout, bro.
If you lost by more than
15
15
points, 2 to 3 minutes to get up by double than what I was up by. You let me blow you out. You gave up on your effort. That's your fault if you allowed a blowout to happen in the last 4 minutes. You play hard for 40 minutes and then decided you're not going to play hard no more.
I don't consider that a blowout. I mean, if you didn't watch the game, you probably would think it's a blowout because of the score. But if you was actually watching, you know it wasn't a blowout.
I still need to watch the game. I can go off of the score of saying that it was 80 to like 84 in the third quarter. If you lost by 20, at what point did your effort stop and you said, fuck it? To the point where Doc Rivers seen the game and told himself, let me take these niggas out.
In the second
he
half.
took these niggas out with 3 minutes, 50 seconds left.
Yeah.
No, I see what you talking about with the Mavericks and Suns. That's different from what happened in the Heat and Philly games. The Philly started getting blown out in the third quarter.
Sure.
Like down by double digits the majority of the game. That's not what happened with Mavericks. And then if you go by double digits the majority of the game and then you end up getting blown a lead, they got blown out.
It's not a blowout.
And I feel like, you know how they say a lot of times your star has to lead the way. Like a lot of times they give praise to Giannis. When Giannis play hard, it's kind of hard for the other guys not to play hard. James Harden, if you come out scoring 10, 12 in the first quarter, I'm going to want to come out and score too. I feel like that's the reason why Tobias bluffed the fucking night. And Maxey said, fuck it, let me do something.
But you still got Jimmy. Ain't Jimmy Butler been playing James Harden?
No, PJ Tucker be playing James
PJ Tucker too, one of the best
defenders. But you the nigga that he been vouching. You been vouching for this nigga for years. He should have won this MVP. This is an MVP caliber
player. It don't matter who's guarding.
I'm going to give him the same business I'm going to give Westbrook,
But
bro.
see, but you doing what I'm doing now. You going back to previous years. It's not don't matter.
It don't matter who's guarding you,
this season.
But yeah, it's not. And what did they do this season? They gave up 2 first-round picks, a protected 2028 pick, and 3 players for James Harden and Millsap, which means this season,
and they still,
in their eyes,
and they still
he's regarded as an MVP caliber player.
And they still made it farther than the Nets, who got swept by the Celtics. So the Nets don't even matter.
So why you bring him up? I didn't bring him up.
Won the trade.
I didn't bring him up
this season.
You can't say they won the trade
because
neither one was the NBA
you already
championship
proved that they didn't want to trade because they were number 2 before they got Embiid, and they fell at number 4 with. I mean, before they got Harden, they fell at number 4 with Harden. So how did they get better? How did that help them? If before Maxey was the only nigga leading the team and they was in second.
At this point, you can say nobody. You can't even say anybody won the trade. If it don't result for a championship.
No, that don't count. Anybody.
I mean, Philly made it to the second round last season.
The round ain't over.
If they don't get past this round, they nobody won it.
Again, you be giving niggas participation trophies. They made it. But the fucking Pelicans made it too, and they were the number 10 seed. But you still knew they wasn't going to get.
You still got to count out the fact that Embiid is out.
So
James Harden plays better with Embiid.
And they still went to 6 games with a fucking Van Vliet-less Toronto Raptors.
That wasn't true.
Scotty Barnes missed 2 games.
He played most of the games.
Most of the games.
He missed the last 2 games.
And the games that they won. They won the games the nigga didn't play.
James Harden is not a max player anymore. Can we just get that out the way? Can we just do that for our audience here right now? Let's just stop it, okay? We respect James Harden. We know that James Harden has been great for years. A lot of it can be deduced to health issues. He wanted out of Houston, and he was determined to get out of Houston. So when they initially told him no, he came in out of shape, overweight, and obviously had to work himself into shape once he got traded to Brooklyn. In the process of doing so, he acquired a hamstring injury. He was never able to fully recover. Otherwise, Milwaukee wouldn't have won the title last year because Kevin Durant and Brooklyn would have beat that Milwaukee team. Maybe this Milwaukee team now as a seasoned champion is better. But last year when they were trying to learn how to win, Kevin Durant, size 13 instead of size 12 or whatever it was, all right, stepping on the line and hitting a 2 instead of a 3, allowed Milwaukee to survive and ultimately win that game in overtime. And as a result, the Brooklyn Nets missed out on it, and since Kyrie had injured his ankle, James Harden, came out there with a bad hamstring and tried to give it all he's got, and he deserves props for that. He comes to Philadelphia this year, okay? Even though he looked a bit stealth, like he had gotten himself in shape, he's never looked the same since he put on that weight because he was trying to get out of Houston, and it's come back to bite him because one could easily argue it has compromised his health. This is a guy, Wendy, and you know what I'm about to say here. James Harden has not attempted 20 shots in a game since he arrived in Philadelphia. Does anybody believe that? Did anybody? I mean, this is James Harden we're talking about here. James Harden, one of the most prolific scorers we have ever seen in the history of the NBA, has not even attempted 20 shots since he has arrived in Philly.
He can't get open, Stephen.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is not about a selection. That is not about being deferential to Joel Embiid. He can't get open. He can't create separation. And that is the reason why he has not attempted 20 shots or more since he has arrived in Philadelphia. In the last 14 games, we are talking about a guy that went like 6 or 7 straight years, averaging a minimum of 29 points a game. James Harden has not scored 25 points in a game for the last 14 games. This is James Harden we're talking about here. This is James Harden. And so let me tell you something right now. When you look at it from that perspective, yeah, you might have somebody like Mike D'Antoni lurking in the background saying this wouldn't happen if he was playing for me. You understand? You might have somebody like Daryl Morey, who's a big-time executive, and we all respect the hell out of Daryl Morey, but we know that he caters to his stars, and he believes in a guy like James Harden. Plus, he wants to validate the trade that he made. So now Doc Rivers' future is up and is in jeopardy because you got to do everything you can to make James Harden look good. But it ain't about Doc Rivers. It ain't about Joel Embiid. It ain't about Daryl Morey. It ain't about the emergence of Tyrese Maxey. It's about the fact that James Harden is a step slower and has trouble gaining the separation that he once could easily gain. And as a result, he can't get off enough shots.
Wait, why you say he played better with Embiid, so why can't he play good without him?
I didn't say he couldn't.
I guess that's the same thing with when he was with KD and Kyrie. He played better with him. Because from what I seen, all I'm saying is, do you remember last year when there was no KD or Kyrie? This nigga was giving me 40, even a 60-point triple-double one time, and that was just last year, man.
But
that was just last year. 60-point on Brooklyn with more bums.
But that's
with more bums, you should be having better stats with these niggas.
But that's a different team with different players.
I just said it. With these bums, that proves that they're different players.
Who's bums?
Kessler, Atwoods, fucking, what's the other nigga name? Devin Duke. Those the niggas that he was getting 60-point triple-doubles with now.
Exactly. You do
Exactly.
You do the motherfuckers want to score. You got people on 50.
But he's able to get 10 assists.
You should play better if you had more talent.
He can't get the assists without them scoring.
If you're not, then you're a fluke.
That's not true.
You're a fraud.
What about all the scorer teams when Shaq be saying you should make the All-Star team just because you had them stats and you on the square team? Like
Kevin Love, should be making an All-Star team.
All them years in Minnesota, that was fluke.
No, because Kevin Love
did the same thing.
He should be putting up
did the same thing in the Cavs.
teams.
But he did the same thing with
just
the Cavs.
Just like when we be talking
what
about
we
football,
saying is,
y'all be saying just because he's not on a
Kevin
nice
Love averaged 15 to 10.
But what I'm saying is,
Kevin
Love did the same thing.
Everybody not fucking Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
Wait, who
is that?
Y'all be saying because people
you just misproved your own point.
No.
When Kevin Love left the Scrubs and he went next to Kyrie and LeBron, he still averaged a double-double for the season.
What you want to do if
he
you
did the same exact thing with the Scrubs, with the superstars. So why can't Harden? Why can't he still give me a 30-point triple-double with Embiid playing? Why can't he give me 29, 9 and 9 without Embiid playing?
I never said that. It was only 2 games.
2 games where you are losing and now you're in jeopardy of the season. Now you're going to need Embiid to be MVP superstar Embiid instead of Harden stepping up and being a caliber.
Harden just look like a regular player.
Now you're expecting a nigga that probably can't even see all the way to give you 35 and 15. When you got a healthy ass James Harden giving you 16.
He just looked like a regular. He didn't look that all we said. He didn't look like a star in those games. He looked like a regular player. You got Maxey and Tobias play better than James Harden.
Like I said, I'm cool with Maxey giving me 18. I'm cool with Tobias giving me 18. But there's no reason why I should have James fucking Harden without the MVP plan giving me 16 points. Just like you make the argument for
16 in game 1, 20 in game.
And he's not even getting a lot of assists.
Remember when I was
like 7 assists.
Remember when I was vouching for Jokic, talking about why his numbers got better, and you was like, he's supposed to do that. His star's out. What the fuck is Harden doing with his star out?
But that's Jokic. Jokic is the star of the team. That's just other players.
So why couldn't James Harden be a star for 2 games, darn?
James
Just
for
2 games. I don't need you to do that when Embiid come back, but I need you to do it when he's not here.
That's what Shaq and them were trying to explain on inside
but
the
y'all
NBA.
act like they not playing against a good defensive team. What the fuck was Trae Young doing every game against the Heat?
Trae Young not James Harden.
I don't think James Harden is James Harden. That's some Deontay Trump
Trae
shit.
Young not James Harden.
Trae Young was the one that was in top 5 scoring.
But I never believed that nigga belonged there. I never believed that nigga belonged in any of the conversations.
But if you watch it, James Harden is not even trying to score like that. He's not even being assertive, trying to get his shots and stuff. He being passive in this
Now,
play.
like they said, game 1, that first half of game 1, I seen Houston James Harden, even though he only had 12 points, and he finished with 16.
And guess what? James Harden had 16 at half this game. You had 4 points in the second half.
Like, bro, you can't be aggressive in the first 24 minutes, and then the next 24 minutes you say, yeah, we got to find something else to do. No, you need to find something else to do. You changed your game.
And I know you saw that video in game 1 when Doc Rivers took him out the game. James Harden gonna try to sit down on the bench.
My boys more.
And he gonna go try to sit on a bench next to Maxey. Maxey got his ass up and sit in a different seat. He ain't want to sit next to James Harden.
James Harden is turning into the Russell Westbrook of his team. Niggas are looking at you. We see what you've done. We see your experience. So how are we supposed to get better and be the best role players we can be for you if you're not giving us what you need for us to be the role players? Now you want Tobias to go out there and shoot 20 shots all of a sudden when he never shot 20 shots since like fucking January? Now you want him to go out there and beat Tobias Harris from Detroit. No. Y'all niggas told me take a step back ever since y'all niggas got Jimmy Butler 3 years ago. That's what I'm doing. You lucky I gave you 20 the last 2 games. Because Harden ain't give you 20 the last 2 games, but Tobias did.
And even Maxey had 34 games too.
And then Maxey gave me 19
19
game 1
game
and then
one.
32. While Harden giving me 16 and 20. Come on, Darrin. That shit ain't adding up, bro.
Because PJ Tucker, I know Jimmy Butler probably got into Tobias Harris. So James Harden can't score on PJ Tucker like that? Is that what it is? Tragic.
I know Tobias Harris be having PJ, Jimmy, Bam, that many.
Even
How many
Bam's
niggas
one of the best defensive players in the NBA.
And he done gave me 20.
And look who they could put.
2 straight
And
games.
Tobias still got 20
And he
in 2
giving me
games.
20, Darrin. And 2
Then
straight
he
games.
literally had like 3 top 10 defensive players on that team.
Exactly. And all 3 of them people getting guard Harden at some point in the game.
And they probably all got Tobias. And Maxey.
Come on, Darrin. This new generation of NBA is a switch league. Some of these teams will switch on every pick. So sometimes niggas is gonna be playing.
How many times has Bam has been on James Harden from pick and roll? A lot.
To me, that's still.
That's a better matchup
I'm
for
about to
James
say,
Harden.
to me, that's still an advantage for James Harden.
James Harden can get quicker than
James
him.
Harden
Bam is mobile.
Not when
He
James
can
Harden
still
that
go past
crossover.
him.
You seen how James
He
Harden
went
shit?
past him a
Remember when James Harden shit the shit out of Gabe Vincent last game?
That's good.
I know.
Listen.
You don't think he can do that to 6 to 10 for in
I mean,
Bam?
I've seen him get past Bam a couple times, but the other times he got get past him.
So who wants it more? Bam defense or James Harden offense? Let's move on.